Everyone's talking about AI these days, right? This season on Compiler, we're diving deep into how AI is reshaping the world we live in. Join us for a new season of Compiler, an original podcast from Red Hat. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
This is Scoot from the Cleveland Sports Fan Network, here to tell you about our new lineup for the rest of 2021 and beyond. We still have your favorites like Oshimita and the Fan on Mondays, our flagship show, the Cleveland Sports Fan, on Tuesdays. Wednesday has the Burley Gunner Show. Thursday is the Four Chubs, a roundtable show hosted by Burley Gunner. And on Friday, Pit Road News, a NASCAR, F1, and IndyCar talk show hosted by Scoot, the Cleveland sports fan himself. New episodes every day at 6 a.m. Eastern. Visit us at redcircle.com/Cleveland-sport-fan. Hey, this is Scott.
And Burke.
From the Davis and Davis Show, the podcast for everything Ohio. Two guys who met at the University of Akron and have a love for Northern Ohio.
We talk about everything from entertainment to motorsports to fine wine and spirits.
Do you want to get a little insight on Northern Ohio from the perspective of two middle-aged men? Well, as we say, grab a beer, a glass of wine, sit down, relax, and listen.
New shows every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern. Just go to www.redcircle.com/Davis and Davis.
Or find us on Apple Podcast, Prime Podcast, Google Podcast. Check out our Facebook page at Davis and Davis. We're not a real law firm.
And we just don't care.
Welcome to the law firm of Davis and Davis. We're not a real law firm.
Go ahead, grab a beer, a glass of wine, sit back and listen. This has been the longest, freaking stupidest day of my life. I have been prepared all day to do this podcast. I was looking forward to this podcast. And then my mother-in-law's computer takes a shit.
Lovely.
So Scott gets the bright idea of, here, you could use my iPad to do your meeting tonight. Little did he realize that he was logging her into his account. Burke and I have been sitting here for 3 hours to do a show.
Well, it's funny because like I had read your synopsis and timeline, and you and thank you for putting everything in EST, so I know what we're doing and everything. And for some reason tonight of all nights, I'm driving home right before I got my car, I got after work, get my car, and I'm like, wait a minute, what time did he say he wanted to start again? And I look at 6 o'clock. I'm like, dude, that's why I text you, dude, I get off work at 6. I ain't gonna be home till 6:30. He's like, oh, okay, well, we'll just do half of it. Like, okay, good, because this is gonna be like a 4 or 5 hour episode if we did both of those things. Jesus Christ.
The whole idea for me was this: we're about to have an ice storm here in Texas, and
yeah, whatever.
We're
about to have an ice storm, and then it's going to dump a foot of snow on top of that.
All right, let me ask you a question here. Do you have snow plows up there?
Yeah, but they can't do shit on ice.
Guess what we don't have down here is snow plows.
Yeah,
Guess what we don't have down here?
You don't have freezing cold that lasts for a fucking month. That's what you don't fucking have down there.
Salt trucks. So what happens in Texas is if you get a freeze that lasts more than 2 days, generally they will start shutting the power down in certain areas of the state that use a lot of power. Hence the fact I tell people, if you're going to buy a house in Texas, buy it as close to a hospital as you can. Because they don't shut the power off to the hospitals. Anyways, last year during the Great Freeze of 2021, which was a week long with below temperatures, we actually had electricity for 4 hours out of 4 days.
Fun times.
To top it off, when things get that cold down here, shit breaks, like plumbing. So we lost water on the second day. We were literally melting snow to have water to drink, to have water. Ooh, that reminds me. Drink.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to refresh mine soon. But anyway.
I am actually drinking coffee.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, usually by this point in time in the evening, you and I are like six drinks in, feeling good, and only have about an hour of a show left. And so
you're drinking coffee. I'm three drinks in. At least I've been doing them mildly. So,
well, I guess we should. Okay, my drink of choice tonight, I have two, besides the coffee, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
My first drink that I will be drinking tonight is I gotta turn this shit off. I'm serious. I don't know how in the hell I was picked to lead a show. There.
I've never heard of that, but it looks tasty.
It is a German Pilsner.
Ooh, like Pilsners.
5% alcohol.
Nice.
And it is a true pint.
And tell everyone the name of the...
Yes, this is... Okay, now you're going to make me say it. Wernisch Gruner.
Wernisch Gruner. Okay.
Wernisch Gruner. Wernisch Gruner Pils Legends.
And if we're slaughtering that name, we apologize to...
Well, they're German. They won't listen to us anyways. And then my second drink of the evening is going to... Oh, I am so looking forward to this. Gentleman's Jack.
Dude, that's what I'm drinking right now.
Are you mixing?
Well, yeah, I'm mixing this up, but I had it straight the other day. And it's funny because we were talking about Jack being bourbon, and I was wrong, and it is whiskey. And it's funny because I tasted the Gentleman Jack just on the rocks, swishing around a little bit and everything. And it's fun. It even though Gentleman Jack qualifies as a bourbon due to the corn content and whatever, it's definitely a more of a whiskey flavor. It's a lighter, It doesn't have that bourbon barrel. If you've tasted whiskeys and bourbons, you understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's definitely a lighter flavor, nice and smooth and everything. And for me, it was like, it's nice, but I want bourbon.
Okay, so here was my critique on this. Gentleman's Jack, I've had it before.
Mm-hmm.
Had it straight out of the bottle, which is a great way to go with it. It is light enough. But
it's double charcoal filtered, so it's very smooth. It's nice.
I have this thing in my head, like I'm a Scotch fan. I like Scotch. I like Scotch single malt. I like bourbon. I like stuff that has flavor.
Yeah,
and
right.
Gentleman's Jack does have flavor, but I ended up sitting back going, well, this is really a $63 mixer. It is. It's a mixed whiskey. It's something that you could mix with, like I'm doing ginger ale and Jack.
Yeah, same here.
And it's got a great smooth flavor. You get the whiskey flavor,
Mhm.
but you get the ginger ale. So it's kind of like this is a drink that, yes, you could drink it on the rocks, but man, it tastes so much better with a little bit of flavor.
Yeah, it's just it's not it's nice. It doesn't have any wow factor. It's nice though. I mean, I guess if they only had Gentleman's Jack at a bar, yeah, I'd definitely order it. It's a good drink. It's a good whiskey. It's just not what I look for in. But I'm like, I don't know. I'm stuck on the whole bourbon thing, and I've tried Scotch. Oh my God, I've tried desperately to acquire a taste for Scotch. I can't do it. I don't know what it is. It's just, I mean, if I go to a bar and I know I need to be sober, I will order a Scotch on the rocks or a Scotch and soda, and it will take me about 3 hours to drink that drink. I just don't like the flavor. I don't know what it is.
I do Scotch on the rocks, but it has to be certain brands. It's got to be a single malt. I do like Macallan. Macallan is the most expensive Scotch that you can buy,
Which I think that's the one that I've had that I didn't hate. It was like $126 a bottle or something like that.
Well, it depends on which version
Right.
you get. If you get the 12-year, I think the 12-year was $80, and then when you go up to like the 21, it goes up to almost $200 a bottle. But the Glenlivet, I can tolerate that. The Glenfiddich I can tolerate. When they start to blend the scotches, that's when I kind of sit back and go, I don't like this. I just don't like the flavor. I don't. Yeah. It almost becomes a dirty flavor. Well, they say that it lightens it up. I say that's bullshit. If you're blending your scotch, then you fucked up your.
You fucked up the first batch, and now you're trying to fix it with the second batch.
Exactly. So Scotch Scotch was my favorite because of my father. I loved the leather cup. What's that say?
BAD. It's my initials.
BAD. Where did you get that? Was that a
Christmas present?
Ooh.
From the wife of all people that doesn't want me to drink as much. Okay. Mixed messages, but hey, bless her heart. We'll love the classes.
She was run over by a truck full of mixed nuts.
She married me, so apparently yes.
That movie review, the movie review for Mixed Nuts will be before Christmas next year. Last year. Hey, yeah, it'll be before Christmas last year.
Last year. Before Christmas of 2030.
So we're going to do a movie review today, but before we do that, I wanted to let the audience know that every other week we will do a movie review. Sometimes it'll be a new movie. Sometimes it'll be an old movie.
God willing, we will do movie reviews at least twice a month. Yep.
I have absolutely no clue if Bob is going to show up tonight.
Okay.
And if he does, great. If he doesn't, he won't be back. Because
life gets in the way, dude. I mean, and you told him 8:00. Now we're damn near at 9:00 now. So I mean, you're fucking with the timeline.
I did tell him that, but he sent me a text 3 hours ago that said, "Oh, it's gonna be closer to 9 or 8:30 before I can get there." So he's
already late.
He's out door dashing right now. I don't know if he's gonna show up, but the fact is the fact, guys. This movie that we're gonna review today was his.
Yeah,
It's
this is
not
his
my
idea.
idea. Not
No.
mine.
No, and yet I was pleased to do it. Don't get me wrong.
Um, okay. Oh, so many people are going to hate me.
No, wait. Okay, so weren't we
It was
supposed to?
not the best movie.
I don't know. Well, okay. We'll wait for the movie review. Weren't we supposed to talk about what we did last week?
Okay, but yeah. We've talked about what we're
I mean,
drinking.
you printed off this really nice itinerary. We ought to try and follow it.
Well, hang on a second. Let me bring up the damn itinerary.
It's your
And
goddamn itinerary, bitch.
and people, I did.
He did. It was that. It was like it was out. Well, no, I take that back.
It's actually timed and everything.
Of course, he puts it out a day before the show and adds an entire 2 hours of fucking content that I'm not ready for a day before the show because that's the way Scott rolls.
Hold on. How are you not ready? I told you last week that we would do the deaths. We would do the deaths before we brought Bob
were drunk, and I thought we were doing one thing and one thing only. You
No,
told me at the end of the night, and you're gonna
the
hold me
whole
to
reason
that
I wanted to get 2 shows in is because if the power does go out, the freeze does happen here longer. I have content that I can use my cell phone to put up onto the web. That way, we're not shutting down because of something that's happening here.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I totally fucked that up because I forgot that Burke actually works for a living, unlike the rest of us unemployed people.
And then Svetlana further put us back a couple hours.
No, that's Mama Sveti. Okay, so Kristen's mom is Mama Sveti. Kristen is Svetlana.
Oh, okay, sorry.
If we ever do a show with Bob again, that story will be the first thing that comes out because Bob's just a different guy.
No, don't say that. No. All
right, Burke. So,
what did we do last week?
This is your segment. Go.
Okay. Well, last week we went over our favorite TV shows of growing up. And I got to do a shout out. One of my favorites was WKRP. And unfortunately, rest in peace, Johnny Caravello, Johnny Sunshine, Dr. Johnny Fever just recently passed away.
Howard Hessman.
Yeah. Sad. But we had a good time talking about all our TV shows. And I'm surprised, I think you and I both missed a couple TV shows that we could have put on there had we thought about them longer, because I was $6 Million Man I didn't even think about, and there was a couple in there that I was like, oh shit, I forgot all about that. So, and
hang on, didn't you have $6 Million Man on?
I don't think I did. No,
I
think I had Wonder Woman on there, but I don't think I had $6 Million Man.
Oh, maybe it was Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, what else did you do last week?
Had a great time at the party out in Copley, and it was the 24-hour of Le Mans party, and this is a kind of an annual event that a buddy of mine puts on, and literally a bunch of people get together in his barn and start watching the race from the start and go all 24 hours to the finish. Now, granted, people will come and go throughout the evening. People will come for an hour or two, and there's food and drinks and then a couple inflatable couches that turn into, you fold them out in their bed. So, I mean, if you just want to fold out the bed and crash for 3 hours and whatever, and every time there is a caution, they do caution shots. So kind of pray sometimes for the people that go off the side of the road or wreck into somebody else. Had a great time. And this was probably the first time I got to actually stay to the bitter end. And it was and you were watching it too, because we live streamed a bit, did a little Zoom action there. He was watching on their Facebook feed.
They live streamed. And Scott, the Cleveland sports fan, the director of Pit Road News, stayed up all frickin' night long and watched Burke sleep.
Fuck yeah. Because you're a dumbass.
I was watching the race at the same time, but it was a long night of watching Burke. Well, he got up about 10 times to go pee. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew I was going to get quite lit. I was drinking Knob Creek, which is a little higher proof, and good fun night.
Damn you!
Damn you! Oh yeah, that's good shit, man.
I was actually gonna say we need to do Knob Creek next week.
I love that. That was I think 3 years ago. My Secret Santa found out I wanted to kind of try out bourbons, and he bought me a bottle of Knob Creek, and that got me started, and I'm digging it ever since. So
I'm a fan of Bullet bourbon. I love Bullet. Oh.
I think I've had that. I think I like it, but it's been a long time, so I can't quite remember. But dude, the end of that race, unbelievable. The top tier classes, remind me, DPI is
DPI.
Dude, the Cadillacs and the Acuras were battling for a full 24 hours. It did get to a point where it was just the two Acuras left. I was really surprised that, what was it, the number 5 car, the blue and black Acura, like,
right,
it was right.
That was the 10
car, and they were right with the leader Acura, which is a team from Columbus, Ohio, of all things.
That was the Parker team. Parker team was in the 10. Was it Parker or Taylor?
Taylor, I think, was the winning team, wasn't it?
Taylor was the winning team. They're the ones from Ohio, right?
Yep.
And that was the number 6, I think.
30?
No, maybe it was the 30. Oh no,
anyway.
I'm thinking about the 16. The 16 had issues, but I can't remember.
That was a Cadillac, I would assume.
I don't remember. I don't think that it was in the DPI though. I think that was in the GT.
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
The blue Acura, I was just surprised at the very end of the race, just kept falling back further. So like maybe they fucked up a tire change or something, just didn't have the traction. But I thought that was going to be like that killer ass battle, which ended up being the Porsches. What a great bit of driving with those dudes! Holy shit! The GT3 class, maybe.
Porsche was in the 3 and the 2. I can't remember.
The 3 class was the pros, and it was the 2 pros battling out. And my God, those guys, the last 5 laps, they were getting warnings from the guys running the race, going,
the marshals.
The marshals were saying, you got to quit hitting each other, and they were like, yeah, fuck that, I want to win.
This was really the first 24-hour race that I've watched where at the end of the race, people were actually close enough to where they could race against each other.
Yeah.
Which
every class seemed like they made it all 24 hours. They kept up with each other, and then it was just a sprint to the end, and it was just good racing at the very end, man. It was great to watch.
I was depressed with the results with the Aston Martin team.
Well, they run off the course and somebody else hit them at one point. I mean, it was just bad luck, I think, but as opposed to just being a British car and breaking down. But
once again, we're dealing with road racing, which is not supposed to be a full contact sport.
Yeah, but shit happened. I mean, it was so cold down there, and the track. The track kept changing like every hour. It was a different track, a different set of traction, a different dynamic. It was hard for those poor guys to keep up.
Well, that road course, because of how it's designed, it's very hard to put heat in the tires. And I mean, you saw that in 30-degree weather. these tires were not heating up.
Nope.
On restarts, they would go into that first corner and everyone was sliding sideways.
There were some really beautiful, like there were some guys that like they almost went sideways, caught themselves, and I mean there was some masterful driving going on considering the conditions. I mean it was great to watch.
There was some great driving going on. For anyone that's never watched a 24-hour race, I started watching the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That was my first experience with a 24-hour race with my dad, and we sat and stayed up and watched the entire thing, and I was just amazed because if you are not within reach of the car ahead of you, it becomes a timed thing. It becomes you are trying to beat the time of the car ahead of you. And it can very well happen halfway through the night when you're sitting in the garage for an hour.
Yeah, it's one of the weirdest races because if your car never gets messed up, you have a really great chance of winning. Even if your car does get messed up. I mean, they were pulling some cars in, reworking the front fenders and putting them back on the track, and those guys were still in the hunt. It's it's the weirdest race. I mean, there's so much planning that has to go in, and there's so much like chess moves of when do we come in, what kind of tire. I mean, and then you have to have drivers that are fresh and know what they're doing and that are good with those track conditions. It's so much goes into just finishing, let alone winning. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch. I mean, there's a lot of boring parts, but yeah, you're constantly going, how the hell are these guys doing this stuff half the time? So
now I only watched Burke until about 4:00 in the morning. Then something got really screwed with their video feed, and they all turned sideways, and I was like, okay,
can't watch.
I can't watch this. I can't watch this. What also surprised me about the race was how good Cadillac was.
They have consistently, I think for the last 3 years, been contenders in that class. It's kind of funny because you're pitting big block V8 American muscle against twin turbo V6. This is pretty much the same block that they use in the street cars. It's a 3.5 liter V6. That's what we use in the regular street cars.
Yeah.
They're making them go 24 hours flat out and winning races. I mean, that's kind of amazing in its own right. But yeah, you're two different philosophies of engines. But yeah, they have been strong for quite a long time in that class.
All right, so we were talking about things that we did this past week.
Yes.
And Scott did something stupid.
Shocker.
I found a place. I found a place online. I've kind of got to be quiet about this because I found a place online where I could have shirts made that were full sublimation. In other words, full color, dyed all the way through so it looks like a cohesive shirt.
Okay. That looks like a baseball shirt.
Uh-huh.
With the team being Crown Royal.
So I talked with the guy.
Never a good sign.
I talked with the guy and
he said, "Hey."
He made another one for me with Shinerbach beer.
Ooh, nice.
From Texas here.
That's funny because that's the beer in the fridge in the corner that you probably couldn't see very well. Yeah, that Shinerbach seems to be like the beer of choice for the Halloween party all the time.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually, he let me drill into the side of his refrigerator to install a CO2 system this year so that the beer didn't go bad and you didn't have to pump it all the fucking time. Yeah.
So, anyways, let me finish this shirt thing.
Okay, good.
Got to tell you about Shiner Bock.
We'll need a break here real quick, but yeah.
So I was talking to the guy, and he was like, well, just make some better graphics for your show, and I'll make some baseball jerseys for you and the guys that are on your show. All you have to do is advertise us. And I said, oh, I think
hell yeah.
I think I could do that,
Wait,
my friend.
Is that like sponsorship almost?
Oh, it's kind of, sort of, but it's more like, hey, talk about my stuff and I'll give you free stuff.
That sounds like a sponsor to me. So we are going to go full tilt, and we are claiming them as a sponsor. God damn it!
Well, we can't claim anything yet until the paperwork is signed and dotted on the appropriate line.
We're very hopeful,
but yeah, I love the fact that I lift up the tag and the first thing it says is made in China. Yet I was talking to a guy in like Arizona.
Well, the shirt itself was probably made in China, but the rest of the artwork, the love, was all USA.
So,
can we choose our whatever we want on those things by chance?
It's gonna be designed with the show logo on the back.
Okay.
Show logo on the corner here, but I because of how this printing works, he was talking to me. He was like, we could put that picture of Burke with the cigarette on the back. I went, oh, baby.
That's all right. I'll send him the picture of you from 2 years ago on the back of your buddy's deck, 50 pounds heavier.
So, anyways, he is gonna hook me up with this guy who does caricatures, and so
we already are caricatures. What do we?
I know, but wouldn't
artists?
What we were talking about was like, instead of the Davis & Davis logo on the back, was having a caricature of you and I in a brown MG.
Okay.
Hanging out over the window, looking like what we looked like back then.
Oh, God.
So I said,
if we could go back in time, this is what we'd be doing.
I told him, hey, this is the only way that I'm going to be 150 pounds again. So, all right, people, we've oh, wait.
That's the intro as far as I know, but
no. What the hell were we? Oh, Shiner Bock.
Yes.
Should I tell this story after the break?
Yes, for God's sake, yes.
Okay. Let's see. We've been 30 minutes into this, people. We're gonna take a little break here because Burke's got the little baby bladder
this week.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
And we're back.
Like I said, you haven't lost any weight. And I kept typing on that chat that you were still bald every time every time I could. I know Bob mentioned it at least once. All right, so I apparently lied to you about what I'm drinking tonight.
Okay.
Because the first drink is going to be Devil's Cut,
which I am now also with the Devil's Cut this here and ginger ales.
How is it you and I just
sync right up like we're on our periods together or something?
Geez. It's yep.
Anyway,
you remember? Oh wait, that's right. I was going to tell you my Shiner story.
That's
yes.
my infinity bottle of bourbon is coming along rather nicely so far.
And
this
that
is the
a beautiful bottle
this is the Blade and Bow bottle. This is that one bourbon I was telling you about that was a gift. It was really good, and I made it last as long as I could. And
is
this
that
was
cork top.
Yeah.
Just the sound.
Wait. Hold on. You hear that?
Okay. Yes, I love your infinity bottle. It is the shiznit.
It is getting there slowly but surely.
I am looking forward to drinking it this summer when you get Tears for Fears tickets for us.
I keep bugging him, so we're working on it.
Tears for Fears, Roy Orzabal, Curtis Smith.
And you're working on BNL, right?
I am. It comes at a very bad time of the year for me. So it may turn out that we need to go someplace to see other than Cleveland. Road trip.
Anyway, Shinerbach.
Okay, Shinerbach.
Back to Shinerbach.
I was living in Virginia Beach, Virginia, 1999. I was working at the Virginia Opera as well as Virginia Stage Company. And my job at Virginia Stage Company was going to downsize. So I had to look for another job. And Virginia Opera offered me a job as a flyman there. And I didn't want to be a flyman. I wanted to be a lighting designer. Anybody who went to the University of Akron back in our day probably remembers Tom Skelton. And I mentored under Tom Skelton for a while. And one of the first things that he said to me is, don't let them talk you into doing a job that you don't want to do. He's like, if you want to be in lighting, you be in lighting. Become a master electrician, do everything you have to do. You'll move on to a designer from there. Okay, great. Well, so they offered me a job, and I was like, well, anyways, the artistic director at Virginia Stage Company called me up. He was like, my friend Edith Love down at the Dallas Theater Center is in need of an electrician. Do you want to go down to Dallas? I had just gotten divorced from the wicked step or the wicked ex.
Yes.
Who was originally from Texas. So it excited me to be able to move to the state that she was originally from so that she would never come back there. I don't know how this shit works in my head. I really don't. Anyways, I say yes to the job, and I come down here. This was in August.
That's a great time to go to Texas.
The Dallas Theater Center was not in their space that they're in now. They were actually, they built a barn in downtown Dallas, and it was supposed to be a temporary structure. And it was called the ADT Theater, the Arts District Theater. This barn, during the summer, you could turn every air conditioner on in that place. It was 120 degrees. Doesn't matter. So I get there, and I go up in the catwalks. It's 120 degrees up there. My friend Richard, or my boss, actually, his name was Richard, I think. God, I can't remember shit anymore. Anyway, and the funny thing is that I just talked to him on Facebook the other day. Anyway, he was like, only spend about 10 minutes up there. I was like, okay, fine. I get down, and one of the guys that works there, his name was Con Larson. Con looks at me. He's like, "Oh, we gotta go over to Snooki's." I said, "Well, what the hell's Snooki's?" He's like, "Snooki's is a bar, over by your apartment." I said, "Oh, okay."
Okay, sounds good so far. Yeah.
It was a bar restaurant. It was more of a restaurant than a bar.
Okay, a pub.
Yeah. It was a very nice place. I knew all the. I ended up knowing all the bartenders. It was great. But this was where I tried Shiner Bock for the first time. Anybody that tries Shiner Bock learns real quick. The first time that you get drunk on Shiner Bock, the hangover is 100% the worst thing that you will ever fucking have in your entire life. I don't know what is in that beer to cause it. I don't know if it's the high sugar content, what.
That's much of it, and probably impurities, but the bad thing is that shit goes down quick.
It's good.
It's tasty, but at a cost.
So, I wake up the next day. I'm supposed to be working at the Arts District Theater. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. I think I dehydrated myself yesterday. That's first thing in my head is you're dehydrated, So I head over to the Arts District Theater and start working and all that. And Richard, I think it was Richard, comes over to me.
Rich.
Yeah, comes over to me. He's like, "Man, you don't look that good." I said, "Man, I think I got dehydrated." And Con walks up and he goes, "No, that's the Shiner hangover." I went, "What?" He goes, "It happens to everyone the first time they drink." Now back then they did not. Shiner was not allowed out of the state of Texas. Back then, they didn't have distribution rights in any other state.
Okay.
It was a true local beer. And there were reasons for that.
Shit hurts.
Well, they were they were a small. The Spotzel Brewery was a small, almost like a craft brewery. It wasn't. They were bought out by, I can't remember if it was Anheuser-Busch or Miller, one of those two, but they were bought out by them, and that changed their distribution.
Yeah.
So people went and got. Now, my question has always been, since I started on the Texas Shiner,
is it different in Ohio?
Yeah.
You'll find out.
I mean, have you had the Shiner hangover?
I've never had the Texas Shiner, no, but I've had the Shiner from Ohio.
Did you get the hangover?
I was not drinking that exclusively, but I'd be willing to bet it would have been bad.
God, I love Devil's Cut.
It's a great mixer and great price point. Good flavor. God, yeah. It just ticks off all the boxes, doesn't it?
It really does. It's got such great flavor. Oh my God. Okay.
All right. So we gotta get into this because we gotta get into this stuff. So the introduction was supposed to be of Mr. Oshimita.
Oshimita. Oh,
but Bob's not here.
Yes, and Bob was actually supposed to lead us into Block B. Don't see that happening.
No. Okay, so round robin, 3 hosts, trivia, important parts fully discussed. Going to be 2 parts.
This could be a short one for you people tonight. Right now we're at a whopping.
No, not so much.
Oh, you got some notes.
I got some notes, buddy.
Oh my gosh, I got me some notes as well.
I did some deep dives, and I did everything but IMDb. Now, I'm sure that a lot of the stuff is going to cross, and you'll get pissed off because I already have the stuff that you have. But let's see, The Fugitive, 1993.
Yes.
Based on a TV series. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. I think I may have actually seen some of the old reruns at some point.
I actually watched.
Ooh. Okay.
Some of the rerun, or some of the they had them on Amazon. Oh, nice. He even covered his mic for that.
I try.
They had them on Amazon, and it was very interesting to see. There is great correlation between the two movies.
Yep.
But
although the other one of my points in here is nobody, and I mean nobody, director, writers, actor, nobody had ever seen the series.
Right.
Which a lot of people have said probably helped it because it didn't have any, I got to try to be like this or whatever. They just kind of made it their own movie, which kind of worked. So that series was on from 1963 to 1967. Shared producers from Maverick and the Rockford Files. It was actually inspired by the book Les Miserables.
Yes. It starred Harrison Ford, as everyone knows, Tommy Lee Jones, the hottest woman of the 90s, Cella Ward.
She was a bit of all right.
Yeah. Juliana Moore played Dr. Ann Eastman. Some of the ones that really kind of flipped me out was
Jane.
Is that the pathology lady?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
From the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yes. Well, what was funny is that the was it Jane?
I believe her real name is Jane.
I'm trying to find her on the list here.
Now, did you know that Harrison was not the original person they wanted for that role? They actually wanted Alec Baldwin or Kevin Costner or Michael Douglas or Nick Nolte.
Yes. Let's see here.
You're still looking, so
I'm still hunting. So you can talk for a second.
The script for this thing actually took something like 5 years, 8 different writers, and went through 25 different phases or iterations until they got down to that script that they actually used. And then while they were filming, the script would also change while it was filming, and sometimes the thing that they were going to film the next day hadn't been rewritten yet. And it was actually the director, Harrison, and Tommy Lee Jones all kind of getting together and going, I think my character would do this, and I think my character would do that. So, yeah. What are we looking at? Jane Lynch. I was right. Yes.
It was Jane Lynch. And the thing is that in the movie, it took me probably 5 minutes. I mean, I kept looking at her going,
gosh, she looks familiar.
I know her from somewhere. And then
she had very long, very blonde hair. It was a little tough.
Then all of a sudden, Glee popped into my head.
No, okay.
There we go. I know who this is, and she.
Yeah, they exist out there.
I'll have to cut that part out. What
And then the part of Agent Gerard was offered to both Gene Hackman and John Voight, both of whom turned it down.
Yes, I know. And that, okay.
And it is sad because like I could see someone else playing the doctor role, but man, Tommy Lee Jones took that and ran with it, and he owned the fucking part. He stole every scene that he was in pretty much, which is kind of why he got a second movie out of it too, you know.
So we were supposed to record something else earlier today, and we didn't. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because Gene Hackman came up.
My idiot, yeah. I was thinking Gene Hackman, yeah.
I was like, but it was they were showing pictures of him back then and him now. You wouldn't recognize him now.
No, true.
Probably one of my favorite actors. The Royal Tenenbaums. Oh my God!
Oh God, I haven't seen that in years. I'll have to rewatch that one.
He was also on. Oh come on, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is a lawyer. What the hell was it? Not French Connection.
Although Gene was in that, wasn't he?
Yes. Not Hoosiers, not Target.
Oh, The Firm.
The Firm. That's really sad that I didn't remember that, because that actually is the writer of all those books. John Grisham. I'm a huge John Grisham fan.
Yeah.
He comes out with a new book, I buy it. All right, anyways, let's get back to this freaking stupid movie, The Fugitive, that I never would have picked to review.
You know, but this stretches us. This is working outside the box. This is good for us. It's character building, and God knows
this does nothing.
Character.
This does nothing to make this hard.
So I've been rambling. Please do impart some of your stuff.
All right, The Fugitive. Let me get back to my note page here. Okay. Before I go into a full dive of this, I need to say this. This movie is great.
Yeah.
It
holds up today.
Yeah, it holds up today. The acting in it is phenomenal from Harrison Ford as well as
Tommy
Lee Jones.
Even Guido the Killer Pimp is good in it.
Guido the Killer Pimp was awesome. Cella Ward was incredibly good for as short as she was in this.
Yeah, flashbacks and just very short scenes, yeah.
Jerome Crabb, who plays Dr. Charles Nichols, was incredible.
Now, he was not originally in the movie.
This is trivia that I don't know.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so Richard Jordan, the guy who was in Logan's Run as the buddy, the other Sandman, was originally and shot scenes for this movie, but then was diagnosed with terminal cancer and had to drop out, and they got the other gentleman to do that. So and I believe that Richard Jordan passed away before the movie was actually released, but so yeah,
really,
yep.
I do not have that on my
I told you, man. I went some alternate routes for all my trivia on this one, man.
Yeah, you're really pissing me off. Usually I'm the one stumping you. during the scene in the woods, one character got injured.
That was...
Do you know who it was, what he injured, and what the result was?
I believe it was Harrison Ford.
Uh-huh.
I believe it was an ACL, but I believe that was actually shot for the promos, but that gave him a limp for a lot of the film.
For the no, this says injured ligaments in his leg during the filming of the scenes in the woods. But we have figured out that.
Oh, here we go. When Richard starts to limp, it wasn't planned. Harrison actually hurt a ligament in his knee shooting a promo for the movie, a promo that wasn't even part of the movie. He refused to receive treatment until the filming was finished and ended up needing surgery.
Damn you, IMDb.
In your cursory glimpses into trivia.
Did you know that the bus that was smashed into with the train
was real? When they actually did the crash scene, that was a real train?
It was a real train. It was a real
bus. And that train wreck and bus wreck still sit in, is it Illinois? No, North Carolina, excuse me. And sits there today and is a tourist attraction now. Got it. And that was all real. Harrison Ford jumping off the train was actually superimposed on the scene. But that crash turned out a little more spectacularly than they had planned. I believe they wanted a 35-mile-an-hour train, but trains aren't really great at judging speed, and they're more like 45 or more. So yeah, it was a spectacular crash, but they had 8 or 9 cameras running at the same time and got it obviously in one shot, because you got one shot with, you got one train, you got one bus. Have a nice day.
So the opening scene, tell me your views on the chronology of the opening, I would say 15 minutes of this movie, because I thought that it was very interesting the way that they did it.
Yeah, you didn't exactly know from the get-go if this guy had killed his wife or if he'd been set up, and it almost led you to think that he was the murderer initially. And there's a number of expectation subversions in this movie, which I absolutely love. But I liked the setup, because you were not, you weren't quite sure what was going on, but you're like, oh, and now I'm invested. So
the first 15 minutes of the movie, spoiler alert, people.
For a 25-year-old movie.
I mean, you see him go to a party. You see him with his wife. You see him go into surgery. His wife getting choked to death. But you don't see who's attacking her.
Now, did you pick up the "thanks for loaning me your car" bit at the very beginning of the movie?
Yes.
It was such a throwaway line.
Well, you didn't think that it really mattered,
right?
So yes, it was brilliantly shot for that time period. I mean, this is the 1990s.
Yeah.
The cinematography that was done in the show was incredibly good.
Yes. Yes.
You had certain scenes where you had your traditional Panavision camera, but then you had like the parade scene where it was all shot with Handycam.
And that leads me to one of mine. That was not set up. That was an actual parade in Chicago. That was one of their St. Patrick's Day parades. The film crew just followed them around. Harrison Ford actually because he was trying to blended in for the longest time. Like the guys walking next to him had no effing clue that fucking, Han Solo was cruising along with him, because they're all just, they got a couple beers.
He had black hair.
Yeah, he had black hair, he had a green hat on, he had an army jacket on. Yeah. So yeah, his job of blending in the film carried over into real life, because not a lot of people realized. Then there did come a point where finally people went, "Hey, that's Harrison Ford," and they kind of got, they had to quit. But yeah, that was all real stuff, and they didn't even ask permission. They just kind of fucking did it.
Oh, hold on. I stumped the bird. The scene where Kimball is running through the St. Patrick's Day parade was not scripted. This was a later addition by Andrew Davis. Davis, a native of the city, really wanted to capture the parade and was granted permission from the mayor's office to film the day of the parade.
Nice. Okay.
The entire sequence was shot by handheld Steadicam without rehearsal. Ford and Jones went out into the crowd, did their own thing, ad-libbed the whole thing. Kept a low profile. Ford observed that since his character was keeping a low profile, it meant he himself didn't stand out much and lasted several minutes in the crowd before finally being recognized.
Yes.
I stumped the bird. That's a point for me.
It's 6-1 now.
I'm telling you, Burke got his trivia from someplace else, and this sucks for me because he knows where I get my trivia.
I stayed away from it implicitly.
All right.
So
now that was, I will say that was my favorite scene in the whole movie, partially because they got great video shots of the river that had turned green, turned green. But secondly, when I was a kid growing up, that's one of the things that I loved to do. I loved to go to Chicago for the St. Patrick's Day parade.
I've been in the Cleveland St. Patrick's Day parade, but I've never been to Chicago for theirs.
Chicago's is.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so moving on to Burke's next.
Okay. The dam scene where
no, you can't. No, you can't talk about that.
Okay, all right.
No, go ahead.
No. Let's see.
Yare took away my train thing.
Okay, the scene in which Dr. Richard Kimball was first questioned by the Chicago PD at the beginning of the movie, you're talking the first 15 minutes there, was completely improvised. Harrison Ford did not know what questions would be asked of him, and it allowed him to create a more genuine and emotional performance. So that was, every ounce of that was, he had no fucking clue what these guys were going to tell him, and that's just all him acting, which is, and it really shows. I mean, that's a great scene because he breaks down at the end. It's just really pretty genuine. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Oh, and did you know that?
Why don't you tell us about the dam first?
No. I gotta. We were talking about the train earlier too. After his escape, it shows Harrison getting onto a train that is marked with the name Kimball, and the very next shot, a helicopter flies over a hotel called the Harrison. Just little Easter eggs for his character and his name.
All right, so in the first scene, we see basically the entire apartment that they live in. Kimball's apartment is actually modeled after an actual doctor's house that Harrison Ford and Andrew Davis met in Chicago at a bar shortly before filming.
That's a good bit of trivia there.
Harrison Ford felt that the doctor, somewhat eccentric and reclusive was exactly how he wanted to portray Kimball. So they recreated the exact
layout and
layout,
look, and the whole 9 yards. Very nice. Very
now,
nice.
The other part of that is that Harrison Ford actually shadowed doctors.
Yes. They let him go into surgery. He was in. Was it the Cook's Hospital in Chicago?
University of Chicago Medical Center.
Yeah. So he was actually, he wanted to get into that role, something fierce. So yeah, that I did know.
All right. Coming back to you.
Ad libs, once again. I don't care. Totally ad lib by Tommy Lee Jones.
Wait, say that again?
When they are in the dam, and Kimball goes, "I didn't kill my wife," and Gerard goes, "I don't care." Yeah, totally ad lib, because Tommy Lee's a badass. His character would not care, even though he does end up caring at the end. But yeah, totally improvised line. Then that wasn't the brilliant thing about that director. He knew he could let these guys go. And they were going to produce some gold for him if he just kind of let them do their own thing occasionally. So, is that Bob?
Oh my gosh! No, one of the news alerts just came across, and Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended from The View.
Oh, shame.
I don't know what she did, but that's really kind of weird since she just signed a $20 million contract.
Does that mean she gets paid?
I don't know. I mean, if she's suspended, is she suspended with pay or without?
I don't know.
Here, hang on. Oh, apparently she said that the World War II Holocaust was not about race. Okay, I'm going back to this movie here now.
We're gonna skip over that like it never fucking happened.
There is a great scene. What the fuck is this world coming to? Okay, so there's this great scene where Dr. or Harrison Ford goes
Dr. Kimball.
Yep. Dr. Kimball goes into the prison.
Yes, to talk to a one-armed man.
To talk to a one-armed man who he thought might be the killer of his wife, and when he figures out that is not the correct person, he decides to leave, and a pursuit ensues between Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm. They're going up and down the other stairs. Another expectation subversion, because you totally expect them to cross on the same stairwell, and they don't.
So in this chase, Harrison Ford tries to make it through automatic doors that are closing. And gets caught.
Right, his foot gets caught.
What does Tommy Lee Jones do?
He fires his weapon numerous times.
Now, here is the trivia question that you must answer.
Oh, God.
Did they use real bullets, or was it did they use real bullets and it was bulletproof glass, or was that an effect?
I'm going to have to go with effect, because I don't know anyone stupid enough to shoot real bullets at Harrison Ford.
Wax bullets were fired at the glass door at the same time Tommy Lee Jones was firing the blanks.
Oh, wow.
So another person was firing these wax bullets onto the bulletproof glass.
Oh, wow.
But they were wax, so if Harrison Ford had gotten hit, it would have hurt, but it wouldn't have killed him.
Been like paintball.
This is okay. Like I said, this was not my favorite movie, but
you enjoyed it, didn't you?
But I did enjoy it, and the fact is that the way that they filmed it made it extremely realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the actors, both Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones, went into situations that they had no idea what was going to happen, and were just told to be their character.
Yeah, act it out. Your old Stanislavski stuff. More improvising at the beginning of the film when they have their little area set up by the train wreck.
Yes.
One of the guys, he turns to the guys and says, what are you doing? And the guy says, I'm thinking. And he says, think me up a cup of coffee and a chocolate donut with some of those sprinkles. That was another ad lib by Tommy Lee Jones, which is just a great fucking line. And I think I may use that in my real life at some point in time. Well, think me up a cup of coffee and a chocolate donut with those sprinkles.
Hey, make sure that you check back soon for part 2 of this podcast. On behalf of Burke, Scott, and the rest of the cast at the Davis and Davis Show, we'd like to thank you for listening, and we hope you return next week. Remember, we're not a law firm, and we just don't care.
Owning a boat comes with a number of perks, like being able to say, ahoy, or land ho, and not feel weird about it. So here's another perk. Geico's boat insurance offers access to the largest towing fleet on the water. And with specialist support from agents that are as passionate about boating as you are, there's so much value that you'll want to say, shiver me timbers, and not feel weird about that either. Get more with Geico.